Hello, and welcome to the Gamer's Closet. I'm your host, Douglas Weed, and today we're going to be discussing the fighting infantry game, Combat. Combat is a board game manufactured by Ideal Incorporated from 1963, based off of an American television show from the 60s. It is a show about American servicemen fighting in World War II Europe. The game is a two-player game, which takes about an hour to play. Where you play as a squad of soldiers, and you have certain objectives that you have to take, and you go up against another player that has a squad of another 6 soldiers that have to take your objectives. But let's dig into it a little further, shall we?
Combat, a Selmer production. Combat. Starring Rick Jason. Vic Morrow.
The TV show Combat aired on ABC television for 5 seasons, from 1962 to 1967. In 1963, a board game was produced through Ideal Incorporated. The game itself has 2 characters on the cover, both from the show, a Lieutenant Hanley and Sergeant Saunders. But that's where the similarity to the television show ends. The game itself is about 2 opposing squads that both look like American forces fighting to take your opponent's headquarters. The television show is about World War II combat in Europe between American forces and German forces. Players decide by the highest spin who goes first. The first player spins the spinner and moves 1 soldier the number of spaces he has spun. A soldier can only leave the headquarters by the exits. After a soldier has left the headquarters, they move in any one of the 4 directions during any one movement: forward, backward, left, or right. Diagonal moves are not allowed. Splitting moves between 2 soldiers is not allowed during any one move. A player is not allowed to jump his own soldiers or the soldiers of an opposing army. If a player is blocked in all directions so that he is unable to complete a move, the player must remain where he is and pick up a decision card and follow the directions. Any player landing on or passing over a mine space must go directly to their opponent's prisoner of war camp. They must remain there until they are freed by one of their own men. Soldiers may only cross the river by means of the 2 bridges separating the red and blue territories. A player landing on a space occupied by an opponent must yell, "Combat," and is allowed to spin the spinner to find out if he has captured the enemy. If the pointer of the spinner points to captured, the enemy soldier is placed in your prisoner of war camp. If the spinner points to escape, the enemy soldier can move the number of spaces indicated directly under the word escape. The soldier that has been placed in front of the prisoner of war camp is a guard. Their main job is to prevent a prison break. He moves like any other soldier in the squad, and if need be, can be taken off of guard duty in order to attack the enemy. To free 1 or more of your soldiers, 1 of your men must land inside the enemy prisoner of war camp, where your men are being held. A soldier freeing prisoners may enter the prisoner of war camp through the solid lines surrounding it. Once the prisoners have been released, they must go directly to their own release area along with the soldier that had freed them. On your turn, your men may move out onto the battlefield from the release area, in either the 2 directions indicated by the arrows. Soldiers of the opposing squad cannot enter an enemy's release area. Each time a player lands on a space marked Decision, they must select a decision card from the deck, blue for blue and red for red. Players must follow the instructions written on these cards. The instruction can be good or bad. If the instructions direct a player to one of the ejected spaces on the board, example, Radio Shack B or Ammunition Dump A, your soldier must go there immediately. If there is another soldier already occupying that position, whether it is yours or an enemy soldier, that soldier is automatically returned to the release area. All decision cards must be returned to the bottom of the deck after they are used. A soldier may enter the enemy headquarters through the solid black line surrounding it in order to capture it. All enemy soldiers in the headquarters at the time are considered captured and must be placed in the prisoner of war camp. There are two ways to win this game. First, you could be the first squad that is able to get 2 soldiers into the enemy headquarters, or you can capture all of the enemy soldiers. Well, this has been an overview of the infantry fighting game Combat. Combat is a well-built game, a little on the simplistic side, so it's not as complicated as Fantasy Flight games or Avalon Hill, which you'll find on the market today. It is a basic strategy game rated for ages 7 to 14, so if you haven't played strategy games yourself or if you just want to get your kids involved in it, it's a really good starter game to learn on. The game itself is very well organized. Again, it's a little simplistic, so if you do have any rules questions, it's kind of a little open to interpretation, but that works out real well for an older game. The game itself is relatively easy to find. You can find it on eBay anywhere from about 30 bucks, so I would recommend looking around for it, and I would recommend playing this game. Well, that's it from us here at the Gamer's Closet. We'd like to thank you for checking out our video about the fighting infantry game Combat from Ideal Incorporated. If there is a game in the future that you would like us to review or discuss, please put it in the comments below. Please hit the subscribe button so that way you can be the first to check out our future content. And as always, please have a great gaming day.